Classic Rock, FM 96. There's White Snake. And here I go again. It is 7:13. Good morning. I'm Jesse here with Ange.
Cold morning this morning, minus 15 with the wind chill. Feels about minus 22 downtown. The good news is sunshine today and a high minus 6.
And we are joined in studio right now with John Dunsworth, who plays Mr. Jim Lahey on the Trailer Park Boys, in town tonight at the Grand Theater for the Sold Out show. John, thank you for joining us.
You're
I thought you were going to talk about your first interview.
Okay, so he's standing here filming Jesse right now because there's a moment that's happened between the two of you that I just found out about.
Here, John, come over here on the mic. We'll swing this over.
No, you stay there. Jesse, you just talked about the first time we ever met.
Oh
Okay, John wants me to talk about
moment.
the first time we ever met. So, John Dunsworth, he plays Mr. Jim Lahey on the Trailer Park Boys. And going back, I would say over 2 years now, my very first day in radio was a Monday. And they're like, on Thursday, you're responsible for interviewing the Trailer Park Boys. And I was a huge fan of the Trailer Park Boys, but I thought it was, real. I thought these people were, Jim Lahey was this guy and whatever.
Yeah, he is that character?
I thought it was like just a done-up version of themselves.
Right.
So I was so nervous to go interview the drunkest person on the history of television and Randy Bobandy with the biggest cheeseburger belly you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And as I walked up to their hotel room, I met John Dunsworth, not Jim Lahey, and I was so, taken back at how nice of a guy he was. And he invited me into his hotel room, and we spent 3 hours together.
What?
We spent 3 hours together, not in that way.
Okay,
But
okay.
we did a little interview, which I'm sure was absolutely horrendous. It was my first radio interview ever with a celebrity.
Yeah.
And then we spent about 2 hours going through his photo album of his family, his kids, his beautiful house in Nova
You
Scotia.
could possibly say that you were lured into that one.
I was lured into that with John Dunsworth, Jim Lahey. Now he's on the mic after filming me, so thank you so much for joining us.
It's wonderful to be here.
So do you remember that experience?
I sort of do it I don't often invite anyone into my hotel room, but you were an exception, and I could see that you were excited, and I love to service enthusiasm.
I appreciate that, because now I've had you, I've talked to you now in 3 different provinces, Alberta, BC, and Ontario, so thank you so much for getting up this morning, because I know you guys were out late last night.
I was, I did a radio interview at Algonquin last night till 1:30.
Oh, wow.
And then I came back and watched 2 episodes of season 8 with Julian in the back lounge of our bus, and then at 3 o'clock, Ricky and Bubbles and Randy rolled in, having had a wonderful time in downtown.
Kingston.
No,
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Yeah, when did you get into Kingston then? Just almost now?
Yes, just a little while ago.
Wow.
So you just mentioned season 8 of the Trailer Park Boys. Now this is something that I find is amazing, because it's very rare you have a TV show that is so successful that goes away, and then the people actually bring it back. And that's kind of what happened with the Trailer Park Boys season 8. You want to tell us how it's going? Because right now it's only available online when it's coming, right?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well then explain.
That was posted by John Doyle in the Globe and Mail, and I knew that because I had an interview with him 2 days ago in Nova Scotia, the day before we left, and he was under, a lot of people are under the misapprehension that the SwearNet will air that. Well, if SwearNet will eventually air it, for sure, but some networks are fighting over right now, I understand. And well, they should, because it's the best stuff we ever did. I saw last night, a rough cut of episode 4, episode 5, and I almost peed myself.
Which you do on screen at times.
Yes, I have to say, in a very embarrassing way, that I have been caught with my pants wet.
All the same characters back this time around?
Ange asked me specifically if there's someone
Oh my
missing.
gosh. Well, we love Julian and Ricky. They're there in Bubbles.
Yes.
I've got to go back to one of my favorite episodes we were talking about this morning, and it was a J-Rock that got caught in the basement, maybe
in his bedroom,
being a master of his own domain.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite episodes, and I know it goes way back, but I just love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's he's back.
Yeah. Awesome.
And hot flash. Corey,
yeah.
That's awesome. Now, would you have come back to the Trailer Park Boys season 8 if everybody wasn't going to be involved in it?
I'd come back to season 8 if I was doing it all alone.
We are joined in studio right now with John Dunsworth, who plays Mr. Jim Lahey, the Trailer Park Boys, in Kingston tonight for their show at the Grand Theater. We're going to come back with you and hopefully get some insight on the new Trailer Park Boys movie that's coming out. I'm Jesse here with Ange, and we're also joined in studio with John Dunsworth, who plays Mr. Jim Lahey on the Trailer Park Boys. Thank you for coming in again.
Good morning, everybody.
I just got to say, John, I read this thing online one time. They said, you're not a Canadian unless you have a picture with Jim Lahey, because you're everywhere, and you've been everywhere for a long time, all across Canada. What keeps you motivated to keep going out and coming in from Ottawa to Kingston at 3:30 in the morning and then joining us 3 hours later?
Look, they don't really say you're not anybody without Jim Lahey's picture. That's just...
I read that on the internet. That is true.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Well, I'll tell you this, that when anybody on radio wants to talk to John Dunsworth will go through storms to get there, because I think radio is the hottest medium of all.
Yes, I love that. Me too. I
Because
agree.
you can be driving along and fully concentrating on driving, and you can listen to the radio and get it, all of it. You can be lying asleep or going to sleep at night and listening to the radio, listening to the kind of music that you like,
Yeah.
and it's heaven.
For over the years from talking with you, I realized something different about you than other people. Is you generally just love this country, you love what you do, and you want to get out there as much as possible. I know you were saying yesterday you were at the radio station at Algonquin College in Ottawa till 1:30 in the morning. There's not a big audience there, and you were just there for them and for yourself and just for the love of everything.
I told them, I said, the reason I'm here is because it's practice. I want to get better at it.
Which is amazing to think that a guy like you wants to get better at something.
That's awesome, though, and
Yeah.
I think that, you know.
I'm a student of the theater, and
Yeah.
you know, when you're there and you talk and you realize that you went off topic into something that was totally mundane or ridiculous or self-contradictory. That's what I always do. I always contradict myself. I tell one story and then tell something else. And wait a second. I was out at Santa School in Calgary, and one guy says you have to lift your eyebrows to show excitement. And the next guy in, you know, lectures for hours saying you have to squint your eyes to show twinkle. You know, and you go,
Yeah.
what? Well, I just came back from Europe on Sunday night from Santa School.
You actually went to Santa School.
We went to Santa School in Calgary, and then we went to Rome and Bari to visit the bones of Santa Nicola, original St. Nicholas.
Wow.
Went to Vienna to the Christmas gardens there, which is the biggest Santa theme park in the world, going right now out of doors in the snow. The most beautiful buildings in Vienna, I couldn't believe it. And then we went to Finland, to Santa Village, a mile of a village along a highway. Santa's there every day of the year, and they have dog sleds and reindeer rides and the hugest igloo. It looks like one of those golf domes, you know,
Wow.
big puff. Then we ended up at the Santa Winter Games in Sweden, and I competed for Santa of the Year.
And?
Well, bless my soul, little. Would you like, Jesse, and would you like to be a Santa elf?
I would love to. Can you teach us?
Then repeat after me.
Okay.
I promise
I
I
promise.
promise.
to make every day
To make every day
just as special as Christmas Day.
Just as special as Christmas Day.
Oh.
I
Now,
got lots of toys.
joined in studio with John Dunsworth playing Mr. Jim Lahey of the Trailer Park Boys in tonight at the Grand Theater. If you want to go and you don't have tickets,
Too
sorry,
bad.
it's sold out. It's sold out. So
Is
you,
it sold out?
It is
Yeah,
sold
yeah.
out.
Isn't that sad? We sell it everywhere.
So you are John Dunsworth. You are your own person, but everywhere you go, people must recognize you as Jim Lahey. What's the most common things people do when they see you?
Do you mind if I have a picture with you? Nowadays, cell phones are ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And every one of them has a different operation for taking pictures. And every person who likes Trailer Park Boys has a cell phone.
Yeah.
And when I see people in the airport or walking along the street, that invariably that's what they do. And if you get into conversation, they ask, you know, questions like, does Bubbles really wear glasses? Or my favorite question is, can I ask you a question? I go, yeah. Do people ask you questions a lot?
Like I just did.
You probably get asked a lot if you're like your character, though, right? In real life, if you're like Jim Lahey, right? And you seem to be kind of far apart just from meeting you.
Yeah, I don't drink. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy it. I don't not drink because, you know, I'm a teetotaler or anything. Last night I had my first drink in months. It was half a rum and Coke. I left it somewhere. But I don't enjoy the taste of beer so much. I do have fun. Jim Lahey drinks. Jim Lahey's supposedly a bisexual, and I don't have any proclivities that I know of. But there's a new Japanese game that might prove me wrong.
You're still learning every day, right?
I am.
Yeah.
That's what I call myself, a student of the theater.
You play one of the best drunks on TV that we have ever seen, by the way. Ever. Like, I have never seen somebody play somebody drunker better than you do.
Listen, I consider my performance to be understated. It's your imagination that makes it real.
Now, so you guys are playing at the Grand Theater tonight. You touched on season 8 of the Trailer Park Boys coming, and you also have another movie coming. So
and 2 specials.
So things aren't slowing down. You want to give us a little rundown on what you got going there?
Okay, well, as you know, there's a hiatus for a while.
Yes.
Mike Clattenburg, I think he burned himself out. Brilliant man. He did 8 years in a row with movies and specials and everything. Writing, directing, editing, writing, directing, editing. And he needed a rest, so he made a couple of movies in the interim, and then all of a sudden, he gets his energy and his mojo back, and he says, let's do another one. And that was why we're back, because he got his energy back. And when he came to Trailer Park Boys 3 movie, he brought his A game, and it was wonderful.
That's awesome. Now, John Dunsworth, Jim Lahey joining us in the studio right now. Usually around in about 5 or so minutes, we do this thing called Soon to Be Classic Games, where we do some sort of trivia game, or we do some sort of thing to give away some prizes.
Yeah.
Would you be able to stick around and maybe ask some Trailer Park Boy trivia?
I love it.
Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. So Soon to Be Classic Games coming up. Jim Lahey is going to be asking you some questions coming up in about 15 minutes' time.